Hey, it's me, Matt. I am sitting on the floor of my studio, which is mostly dismantled. Right here is where the shelf went in the background of my music streams. Um, we are about to move cross country from the west coast to the east. Even though I'm ostensibly getting rid of things and packing and getting ready to move. I had one last opportunity to go to the best local thrift store for nerfing in my area. It's a Goodwill in a town, couple towns away, and had really good luck for the first time in a while, which was kind of a nice farewell. Um, but it got me thinking a little bit about thrifting and about some of the conversations I see around thrifting online and in discords and in the comments on a lot of thrifting run videos that some YouTubers put up, and I kind of wanted to share what thrifting is like here and what it has been like in other places that I've visited, and from talking with other people who thrift for Nerf and other places. Um, Local to the area that I'm in currently, there's about 8 Goodwills, specifically Goodwill, within reasonable driving distance. And out of those 8, I've learned that 3 of them generally actually stock Nerf stuff. The others just don't most of the time. And then in addition to that, there's a couple other random thrift stores. There's one Salvation Army, and I abhor their business practices. I don't go there at all. Um, there's also a local chain which made the very fascinating decision that toys were a higher COVID risk. Um, and so they stopped taking them at the beginning of the pandemic, and so now they just don't stock them at all. So I've stopped going there as well. The Goodwills in my area have a very specific pricing policy. All toys are $4. So in Nerf, that means that if I go there and I find a Jolt, that Jolt is $4. But also, if I find, say, a Rapid Strike or a Prometheus, $4. So sometimes that works out to your advantage. And sometimes if you go to a store and they have something really big that you really want and they have some little stuff, it might be worth it to get some of the little stuff. And yeah, you'll pay $4 for it, but really you're paying $16 for multiple things. And then a couple of the stores will then mark up certain things, and generally pretty illogically. Obviously, the people who work at these stores, they have to deal with thousands of items every single day. I don't expect them to necessarily make the best decisions in pricing in hobbies that they're not necessarily involved in. But when you see like a Night Finder and it's marked up to $8 because it has 2 darts with it and they're like taped together with packing tape, and you know that it's going to take you a day to get all the residue off of it, not really worth it. But luckily, the store that I went to the other day treated me really well. I found one of these, the Fortnite GL, which itself, I'm sure you've all seen reviews on this. It's not the greatest blaster. Obviously, I'm missing the facades that go here and here, which I don't care about. But the thing that made this worth it was inside it, I found 3 rockets, and on the ground, I found some more rockets. Now, a lot of them are missing the fins, but you can just buy craft foam and put new fins on, so I didn't really care. So this was a really, really exciting find. They're not really making the rockets. I even knew in stores I can't currently find rockets anywhere. I know that there's other places where people can still just kind of go to Target and buy them. Not here. So finding 5 rockets, this alone, easily worth it. This was priced at $4 in my store. I also found, for the first time ever locally, a Roughcut. This is one of those blasters that, like, it's kind of falling out of favor, but they're used so much in mods as a master key. For a good reason. They store either 4 shots of 2 or 8 shots of 1 if you're very gentle with the trigger finger. This one's in pretty good shape. It's a little bit marked up, but again, $4. Reasonable. I know that there's some places where people probably wouldn't pay more than $1 or 2 for a Roughcut, but here again, this is the first one I've ever seen. I don't think they were sold as much in this area. And so they don't show up in thrift stores as much. They also, even though they're certainly nothing like the Warden in terms of durability, the mechanism can still jam on these, as far as I understand. So I imagine a decent number of them get broken and just wind up getting tossed in the garbage. So I was happy to rescue this one. And I also found, and this was fun, I found a white Vigilon. I haven't seen any, I don't really need this, but I also found it with a handful of Vortex discs, and I stuffed a rival ball in the ammo area that I found on the ground, because, you know, otherwise it's just going to get swept up and thrown away at the store. This stuff, particularly these two, probably represent the most exciting thrift haul I've had in a while. And I don't know if it's, part of it is like a cultural difference, but then you go on a Discord and you talk to people about their Nerf finds, and they're picking up blasters like this Roughcut for $1 or less. People find things at their local Goodwills that cost 25 cents, 50 cents. Part of that difference is just price of living. West Coast price of living is known to be higher, and the thrift stores follow that. Not everywhere are thrift stores just this absolute bastion of the cheapest possible used goods you could ever get. The thrift store itself has to pay higher rent. They have to pay more to continue to be open, and as a result, they charge more here. I'm kind of excited to maybe get to make a couple thrift shop stops on my cross-country trip, less to pick up stuff. Obviously, I would love to find fun stuff. We're going to have a lot of workshop space at the new place and be able to do a lot of modding. But I'm really interested to see the difference in culture, see how many different things we find and how different the shops look. Obviously, a single stop in a shop in the middle of nowhere, or just in an unusual place that I've never been, isn't going to tell me a lot about overall how thrifting is in that area. But I think it'll be really interesting to kind of compare, and I'll maybe take some notes and do a follow-up video once we get to the end of our trip. If you're interested in that, pop a comment down below and let me know, because I think it would be fascinating to do a follow-up after I see thrifting in some other places. Now, the area that we're moving to, we're going to be about an hour from the closest Goodwill, and there's one. So it's going to be a big shift. It's not something where I'm going to be able to, just for fun, take a trip to go visit multiple Goodwills and pick up a bazillion things. It's going to be the kind of thing where I happen to be going into town, so I'm going to stop at the Goodwill and see if there's anything good. It's a very different sort of atmosphere. So when you're looking at other people's thrifting finds, keep that in mind. Like, the situation where you live is probably very different from the situation where they live. Or maybe they just had a lot of luck. And just congratulate people on their luck, because, you know, maybe you'll have that same luck too. Even if you only have access to one store, like, those things happen. There's also, you know, thrifting is just kind of not... Chunky. Hello. We have a cat visit. Let me see if I can get him on camera. Chunky, hey. Oh, oh, oh. Yes. 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 Oh, Chunky booty. So as I was saying, everybody's situation is different. You're going to find different things. They're not always going to sell all the same things in the same quantities in every area, and so as a result, they'll be less common at thrift stores later. Enjoy what you find, and enjoy for other people what they find, and yeah, be good to each other. Do like and subscribe, please. That'd be cool. See you around.